It's no secret that as time goes on, Fortnite is going to experience some growing pains. It happens to every single game out there, especially when you're the most popular game in the world that everybody's playing and talking about and criticizing. And I think up until this point, they've done a fairly good job of handling it, but it looks like we could have some pretty major changes coming up in the future. At least Epic is kind of toying with the idea of this sort of thing happening, and I don't know, it's going to be interesting. So really, there have been a couple of bad little weeks that we've had in the past with this game. I mean, it only just started becoming popular the past few months, but there was a week or two where we had some crazy lag and weird issues with rubber banding and connections and stuff like that they ironed out pretty quickly, which was good. And then more recently, we've been struggling a little bit with the meta of the game and just basically the balancing of the weapons. So last week they nerfed the shotguns and a lot of people were happy about that. A lot of people weren't happy about that. I mean, even before that we had the issues with double pumps. We still kind of have that issue. But yeah, last week was the shotguns. Then this week, if you guys didn't see my last video, it's the explosives. The grenade launcher and the RPG are now nowhere even close to as effective as what they were before, which some people think is a good thing and some people think is a bad thing. And it looks like we also have an issue with building. And I think a lot of us kind of saw this coming. I even, one person that comes to mind is Big Timer. Check out his tweet right here. Originally back in February, he made a tweet talking about how it's starting to get exhausting that every fight you get into is a crazy build battle. And then last week, he quote tweeted it and he was like, hey, are we there yet? And this is something that I've seen coming as well, because I mean, when the game first started off, the first few weeks, literally nobody built. And then people started learning how to build and stuff like that. And building is definitely the part of Fortnite that makes it unique and makes it special and separates it from other games. And I personally really like it. I think it's fun. I think it's really cool to be creative with your builds and getting away from enemies and getting the advantage over enemies and stuff like that. But it's no doubt that as time goes on and people get better, the building is getting absolutely ridiculous. Sometimes I play in matches where it feels like every single fight I get into, I have to waste all of my mats just to be able to beat that guy. And then all of a sudden there's going to be another guy running up on me who's going to be building like crazy. I have no mats left and there's nothing I can do. So eventually, right now, I feel like it's starting to get to the point where it's getting annoying. But, you know, a month or two from now, I feel like it's just going to be crazy. Everybody's going to be build spammers. It's going to be insane, and the game is going to kind of almost take it's just going to slow the game down and make it less exciting. Because, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it, whether you see it in some YouTube videos or streams or even just people playing online. Some people truly just build first. They completely let shooting your weapon take a back seat, and that just doesn't really make sense in a shooter game. You know what I mean? Yes, building is a huge mechanic, and you should try to build to get an advantage or build to save yourself. But at the same time, when you have the chance to take the shots and get the elim, you definitely should too. And some people just keep building and building and building. So again, this is at some point going to become somewhat of an issue, the build spamming in this game. And Fortnite's already kind of taking steps to work on that. So you guys know some LTMs have had reductions in the amount of materials you get from actually farming trees and fences and stuff like that. And then even more recently, last week with the update, they reduced the amount of materials you get from floor loot. So the pieces of wood or metal or whatever else that's on the floor, you get less materials from that. You get less materials from llamas. You get less materials from chests, I believe. So they didn't touch the actual harvesting materials rate, but over time, you can see that they're starting to cut back on the number of materials we get to kind of get this building situation under control. And with today's update, we had a little leak of a couple of LTMs that might be coming soon. Now, this is a leak. It's not confirmed yet. It's in the game file, so it's in the game, but I think it's something Epic's just testing at this point, and we probably will see at some point. It is listed as two different modes, but I think it's the same mode. It's just they have different names for it. So one name was called Tactics Showdown, and then one name was called Ground Game, but they both had pretty much the same description. So the description says, this mode encourages tactical combat and building by putting a cap on the amount of resources and ammunition that players can carry. When they are eliminated, players will drop fewer resources than normal. Spray and pray and build spamming isn't an option here. Use the natural cover of the map provided and make every shot count. Player-built structures also start off with less help than normal. So there's a lot going on here. That was a long description, but basically they're saying that you're not going to be able to carry as many resources, when you kill somebody and pick up the resources, there aren't going to be as many resources there. When you start building things, like when you're ramp rushing somebody, your ramps are going to start off with less health, so they're easier to be shot out. Overall, they're just saying that, like, it's going to cut down heavy on build spamming and even kind of shot spamming too. It did talk a little bit about ammo in there, having less ammo to spray things down. But really the biggest thing here to me is the build spamming. It looks like, and this is an LTM, so this is not the base game mode yet, but it looks like they're trying to test out different ways to kind of cut back on the build spamming a little bit, which, again, as with everything, is a good and a bad thing, because building is truly what makes Fortnite Fortnite. That's what sets it apart from every other game out there. I mean, the cartoon fun, bright colors, that kind of thing is cool too. But the building is like the core game mechanic that Fortnite provides that nobody else does. So it's like the best part of the game, but it's also starting to become the worst part of the game. So they need to find a correct balance where it doesn't ruin the game, but it still keeps the people who like to build happy, because if they go too far and they nerf stuff too much, and then all of a sudden we essentially have Call of Duty on a bright map because you can't really build anymore because nobody can carry many mats, that becomes an issue too. So it's not a position I would want to be in. Hats off to Epic and all the devs out there, because I know it's a rough spot. They need to create what the community needs, not what they want. And we'll have to wait and see if they end up getting it right. But I think it's kind of interesting. Like we've seen this progression over the past couple weeks of reducing the mats, and then now we're talking about having a game mode that's specifically tailored towards reducing mats and reducing buildings. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think they need to cut down on building a little bit? Do you think they need to cut down on it a lot of bit? Let me know down in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys later. Peace out.